Hey guys, welcome back. Obviously, I'm in the car right now, taking a drive, and again, back on these videos where I'm like thinking about stuff that has worked for me, and trying to, again, reflect on the things that in my life have just worked for me. I haven't really thought about it much, but one of the things that I realized the other day, I went to R2LA the other day, and there's a lot of builders there, and a lot of really, really talented, smart builders there. And something clicked with me, and it's that a thing that's always helped me is I always try to listen to everybody. And what I mean by that is not just listen like we're just having a conversation, but like if we're talking about some technical thing, like something that, like a builder thing, or a 3D modeling thing, or a 3D printing, whatever the topic is, there are skills that I am pretty good at, and there's skills that I'm not good at. And being able to listen to someone who is maybe like not as experienced as you, a lot of people seem to blow, and I witnessed this. This is what made me think about it, is I witnessed people who have been doing stuff for a long time kind of blowing off people who are new to the hobby, just like, I'm good at this already. Don't do that. Listen to people, because someone who's new to whatever skill it is, whether it's ZBrush, 3D modeling, building techniques, sculpting, mold making, whatever the thing is that you do, drawing, painting, etc., anything, music, whatever creative stuff, technical thing, whatever it is. The new person who's just learning, even if you've got decades of experience, that new person may have learned something in their first 10 days of learning this process that you don't know yet. And they might have a great tip for you, like a gold nugget of helpful, like beautiful knowledge that even though they're not as skilled as you are, and anything they talk about, 98.9% of what they know, that one little percent that they may have picked up on might be really, 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 really useful to you. So listen to everybody, even if, they're new to whatever it is you're doing. Let's say you've done something, again, 15 years, someone comes along, has been doing it for 2 months, listen to them. You never know. And it's happened to me a ton of times where somebody that's learning is picking up this new information, because if you start something 10 years ago, when you're learning, there becomes like this tipping point. As you learn, you try to take in all the information you can, because everybody knows more than you do. But once you get to a point where you're pretty proficient at that skill, you kind of don't look into it as much. You can just do it. You're good at it. Like, I need to do Photoshop, I can do Photoshop, whatever. You don't think about it anymore. You're not digging for all that new stuff all the time. But a person who's just learning what might be a new addition to like, again, Photoshop or 3ds Max, or if you're mold making some new silicone rubber that's easier to use, they might be way more aware of those new items than you are, because you haven't been paying attention. Even though you're really, really skilled, whatever the technique is that you're doing, like, you might be great at it, but they might have that tidbit. So anyway, I know this is rambly as all get out, but that's just it. Just listen to everyone. You never know where you might get your next great piece of information from. Another thing too is that another thing that's worked really, really well for me is that if I've done something, let's say I've done something for 5 years, it's worked great, 100% of the time I can do it, works awesome, and someone comes along and gives me a better technique, I will, whatever it was I did for 5 years, I will just throw it out. I don't even care. It's gone. If there's a better way to do it and it's faster, works better, that old way, I will never do it again. I just don't even care. It's just gone. Gone. I don't hang on to it. I don't have any like emotional attachment to those things. So it's real easy for me to move on to the next step. And I feel like a lot of people get really hung up on the way they did stuff. It's kind of like when digital photography started up, and then all the people who were developing film, they were all hung up on the fact that, oh no, film, the darkroom stuff, like they had to like hang on to that. But then, if you're doing this for a living, when the technology shifts all the way over and you've been like hanging on to the old methods forever, it's really, really, really hard to keep up with the new people who are really savvy with the new technology. So it's very good to be able to just morph your techniques all the time. And it's why I like to experiment with things. Like, I meet a lot of people who are really set on, like, I'm using this material and I'm doing the mold this way and I'm fabricating the part like this. And I'm just looking at it like, I could see 10 ways to do this. And I just try to think, which was the fastest way, the cheapest way, easiest for me to accomplish my goals. And it's, the reason I get into this, it feels maybe like it's like veering off course from what I was talking about before, but the reason I say this is that a lot of times those new people who are coming up and learning this stuff have those new techniques. Those are the ones that they're learning because they're fresh to the game. So all that new stuff that's been happening since you got good at whatever it is you're doing, they're picking up on the new stuff that you weren't paying attention to. So listen to them. Even if you're going to listen to them talk forever about stuff you already know, listen to them. There'll be little nuggets in there, and it'll be helpful. And then you're helping them too, because if you're having a conversation, you're helping that person too. And always help other people. Don't like hold out on info if you can help out a new person, because that person could be a great friend to work with in the future, especially if they're really into whatever it is that you're doing. I feel like I make these things so broad because I'm talking about so many topics. Like, again, it could be anything, any creative pursuit, from music to art to building to who knows. So it's across the board. But anyway, hopefully that's somewhat useful. I am almost to my destination now, so I am gonna have to end this video in a second. Thanks for listening to me ramble in my car, being a passenger with me today. And bad shift. Jeez. That's embarrassing. I'm gonna keep it in here anyway. All right, guys, have fun, and I will see you kids soon. Later.